Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Niger once again, and this is going to be another tier list. So, admittedly, I chose the wrong shirt for the occasion, but unfortunately, my shirt for this particular character is still in the wash. But nevertheless, as we have got the Sentinel of Liberty, the leader of the Avengers, the former Icicle super soldier, that being Captain America. So, we got our attires here. Captain America with quite a few looks, and quite a few variations of similar looks. But nevertheless, we also have our tiers down here. So, if you've seen these tier lists of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. But if you're new to these, we have our tiers here. We have a ranking. So we have Super Soldier tier, which is our top tier, meaning it's a really good look, a really cool costume, and really cool attire for Captain America. Then we have A tier, which is maybe not top tier, but still really good. Then we have B tier, which is kind of middle ground, not great, not horrible, but good or okay. C tier is kind of meh, kind of eh. One or two things keeping it from the bottom. And then hang up the shield means this attire sucks. Turn in your shield, Captain America, and retire like he did at the end of Endgame. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting with his original look. Look, and admittedly, some of these I do tend to almost kind of grade on a curve because it was a different time. But nevertheless, different time. That's the excuse that's been used quite a bit for other stuff. But that's not what we're here for. But as for this attire itself, it looks kind of and like you can see pretty much the design that would carry pretty much through the rest of the attires. The only real difference is that he has kind of more of a pointed shield. I forget the exact name of this type of shape, but more like a pointed shield, like a traditional little shield as opposed to the circular one that he would go on to have. But then also this more of a cap, more so like a mask. Doesn't really go around the whole head and neck like his other masks, but more so just covers the top of his head and his eyes. So not really a bad look. Just looks a little weird. And the other reason we got to take we got kind of grade some of these on a curve is because we also have to take into account some of the art styles. We do have both comic and movie attires here, mainly because the movie ones were kind of low to the point where I decided to just throw them in. But nevertheless, the original Cap attire is going to go in B tier. Then next up is the Golden Age, aka pretty much the Captain America attire we all know and love. Like I said, pretty much similar to this one. He does have like the has the blue, the white, and the red. It kind of reminds you of like an ice pop, or a firecracker pop, or however you refer to them. He's got the A up there, pretty much like this one, and he's got the circular shield. But like I said, very iconic and still very good, and it does still hold up. And of course, like I said, he's got the scales, which I think is supposed to be like the eagle, the bald eagle, the symbol for America. So this one I'll actually put in A. You gotta take how iconic it is into account. And if you notice, kind of a trend. I start off with kind of the ones that people are familiar with, and then we get into the weird costumes. But nevertheless, this one's gonna be A. Then next up is the no scales, so a variant kind of it, except without the scales. More just a solid color, doesn't have the scales for the eagle like here. More so just no scales, just the regular suit. It still looks pretty good for the most part. Between this and the no scales, which one do I prefer? Probably it depends on how I'm feeling. Like sometimes I'm like, the scales are nice. Sometimes I prefer my no scales. It really depends on what they do with that design. Especially like I said, with different interpretations. But because it's pretty much the same, I also put it in A there. Then next up is going to be, let's see, the Marvel Now suit. So. Also in Marvel Now, it is the first, I believe, the first appearance of Falcon / Sam Wilson as Captain America. The only reason I didn't do the only reason I decided not to throw his in there is because I do want to do like a Falcon tier list for himself, of which may seem hypocritical considering that's how we're gonna get into, but I'll excuse me, explain it. But nevertheless, this one still looks pretty good. Pretty much like the classic ones, except more of like that modern flavor to it. It looks a lot more bulky. Looks more like or like a uniform or like army attire, or it's got of course stuff like the belt and stuff like that, the browns mixing in, and you can definitely tell kind of taking some inspiration from how they do in the MCU, because the MCU was a thing by this point. I think by the time the Marvel Now came out, the MCU was still pretty early on in its lifespan, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so the Marvel Now still looks really good. So this one's also gonna go in A, I think. It still looks really, really nice. Nice. Actually, do I want to put in Super Soldier? Is this our first Super Soldier? I don't think so, but yeah, it's still pretty. It's still really good. Next up is the Ultimate look. So pretty similar to this one on and going still back into that like classic look. But it kind of almost like the bridging the gap between this look and then the classic look there. It still has the scales, still has like the red and blue and stuff, so it still looks pretty good. So the Ultimate, I think, also there's gonna be a lot of A's on here, I can tell. And it's not because of the A on like his forehead, but I think the Ultimate is also still gonna go in A. It's still really good in my opinion. But next up is the Winter Soldier slash Bucky Barnes. Now, I know, this kind of goes against my logic here, for not including the Sam Wilson, and ultimately, I'm not sure why I decided to keep this one, but you know what? I will throw in Sam Wilson's, but I'll do it right after Winter Soldier here. But as for this one, it still looks pretty cool. I do like how it does still have kind of the similar idea with the blue and white and red, and the A there, obviously, and then the shield there, but all in black towards like the bottom on like the arms and the legs. Really showing that is Captain America, but it's a different Captain America. This is, of course, Winter Soldier slash Bucky Barnes. Or don't think I like it quite as much as the other ones, but still, pretty nice, pretty cool for the most part. So, this one is going to go in, I think, at least B. I know a lot of people do really like this attire, and you know what? We will throw, Falcon as Captain America in there, or more so just the comics version, and I think I will leave the movie version to like a separate tier list, because I do want to do one for Falcon, but then I also wanted to do one for Winter Soldier, which is why I decided, you know what, we'll throw Sam Wilson in there. And his suit still does look pretty cool. I do like how it has kind of the basis for the Captain America suits, and then but also it's got the wings, it kind of putting its own spin on it. I do really like this one as well. It does look pretty cool for the most part, and I do like the white up top, so kind of putting its own different like flavor, but you can tell still the basis for it. So you know what, the Falcon one, I think the Falcon one will also put an A. Like I said, there's gonna be a lot of A's on here, so I decided I'd throw it in, but I think we do still have plenty of other Captain America outfits as well. Starting with the next one up after the Winter Soldier one, being the Secret Empire Captain America, aka the one where he shocked everyone when he said the two words that a lot of people feel Captain America should never say: "Hail Hydra." And I think it was resolved that he was like a double agent the whole time. Also, it is worth mentioning the Winter Soldier Captain America came about because everybody thought Steve was dead, and then the Falcon one, I believe, was because the age finally caught up to Steve Rogers. But did want to throw those explanations for those in there because I do want as many explanations for these different outfits as possible. But nevertheless, still with this one, and I think it was like he was supposed to be an undercover Hydra agent, if I'm not mistaken, which I think was which I'm pretty sure was like their get out of jail free card. Like, oh, people don't like that Captain America's with Hydra now. But in theory, yeah, a lot of people are going to be kind of put off by it, but nevertheless, as for the attire itself, it looks decent for the most part. There is a decent amount going on. It's mostly blue this time around, with like the red stripes, and then this shield, this new shield, kind of going back into like that, like the sort of more like a more pointed, I guess, shield design like we saw with the original here. So kind of going back into that, and it's got the blue and this black with the white star on it. It's got these blue and the browns pretty much mixing throughout. Don't quite know if I like it as much as the other ones. So I think I do prefer the red, white, and blue to be a bit more balanced as opposed to the other Captain America attires. But that's mostly just me. But it does still look really cool, so I think I will at least put it in B. I do still like it for the most part, but I don't think I quite like it as much as the other ones. But remember, these are all my opinions, so if you disagree with any of these, that is totally fine. But then next up is the U.S. agent, and a bit of a spoiler, no, I didn't put the MCU version of the U.S. agent on here, because if I'm not mistaken, and this comes from someone who hasn't seen the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. In fact, I don't think I've really seen any of the MCU shows yet because I'm far behind. But I think they pretty much just gave him like the standard Cap outfit. Plus, we do still have plenty of others. But as for the U.S. agent attire itself, another iconic attire, another one that a lot of people like. I do like the basis of it. For the most part, it is very different to our traditional Captain America attire, where it's got like the black, the full black suit, hoot, and then it's got the flag right there here with the black star and the black gloves and stuff, and the shield, almost like an inverted version of the shield. But it's, for me, it's a little too plain. I don't know if I'm alone on that, but not really a whole lot going on. Sometimes less is more, or as we've seen sometimes, but this one, don't think I'm the biggest fan of. I don't necessarily want to put it in like C or anything, and I know a lot of people do still really like this one, but I don't think I'm the biggest fan of it. But I think I don't want to be too harsh, because it is very different, and obviously it's a much different kind of take on Captain America. But you know what? You know what? No, I'll stick with my gut. I'll put it in B. I will stick with my gut and put it in B. Next up is going to be the Super Soldier outfit. And I forget the exact basis behind this one, but kind of much different Captain America. No real helmet or anything. I think he was supposed to be more covert, as like more undercover and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I forget the exact origin behind this one. But the suit I do still like for the most part. A lot more blue, as opposed to the other colors, but it does have the white there and then the red stripe on the pants. It still does look nice for the most part. It does have like the brown with like the brown gloves and then the boots as well. I do think I still like it for the most part, but not quite as much as the other ones. And so I think this one I'll also put in B. yeah, I'll put this one in B. I know a lot of people do also like that one as well. But next up is going to be the World War II cap. So this is, I believe, how it looks in the Ultimate Comics. And I also remember this because this was a loading screen in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But as for this attire, it's pretty much like what we expect from Cap, except more in like that army look to match him being in an actual war. And I do like how it combines aspects of like this one and also like this one into kind of incorporating some of that, and it does look pretty cool. So this one, and it does have like the pointed shield, which, like I said, is kind of indicative of this one. But this one, I think, and I do still like for the most part. Again, not quite as much as the others. So I think this one I am going to put in B. Yeah. So I'm gonna put it in B there. Next up is going to be, let's see. Yes. 2099. So I forget the exact origin of this one, but it is in the future. It is very much in the future. I believe this is a. Is this a? It's not a descendant of Steve Rogers. There's never mind. But as for the look itself, I do like it. It is mostly blue, but it does have the black, and then it's got these cool like flag designs, and then it's got the white there to kind of make it a bit more interconnected as opposed to the other ones. So I think this one I'll also put in. B. Something about it he'll do like for the most part. So this one's going to go in. I hit the enter button first, so it's going to go in B. Alright, so next up is going to be the exoskeleton Captain America armor. This one is kind of weird. I'm not going to lie. This one is kind of a weird one. Like, hey, it is nice and armored, and I can tell by the art style this is like either late 80s or early 90s. That was kind of an interesting point for comics. It's armored, or it's got that kind of reminds me of like the armored look for Batman from Batman vs Superman, or like an Iron Man armor. But it does look. It's really there's quite a bit going on. It's got like the gloves and like the shoulder parts, and then this helmet. Don't know if I'm the biggest fan of this one. Like, this one is kind of out there, which sometimes isn't a bad thing. But yeah, this one, I'm sorry. I think I gotta put this one in C. Just something about it I'm not really the biggest fan of. But again, and these are all my opinions. So if you disagree with any of these, perfectly fine. But I don't know if I'm feeling this one. Next up is Peggy Carter, and this is from the What If timeline of events, and I believe this is like the MCU's take on it, which means I probably should have put this in the MCU section, but nevertheless, here we are. And this is accompanied with a costume for cosplay that you can use. But as for the attire itself, it does look pretty nice. Of course, Peggy Carter, or pretty much the What If timeline is what if Peggy Carter had received the Super Soldier Serum instead of Steve Rogers, and you get. And this is pretty much what you get. It does look really cool. Well, it's got like the British flag, obviously, because Peggy Carter is British. Agent Peggy Carter, I should say. But yeah, so Agent Carter is British. So it does have the British flag. Pretty much like the base, like the Captain America uniform, and even on the shield and stuff. So this one, I think, is also pretty cool. So this one is going to go in, I think still go in B. It does still look pretty cool for the most part. Then next up is the Mangaverse. Kind of reminds me of this one, and I'm also not the biggest fan of this one. Like, hey, maybe it's just this image, but like the big armor stuff. Like, look, I'm not against the armored looks obviously, but you do have to take in mind who this. You do have to keep in mind who this is. It's supposed to be Captain America, but this one, like the purple, or maybe that is supposed to be blue, and then the white, and then this like red, that's kind of orangish red. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of this one, and it does have this logo here, and obviously nothing against changing up the formula of the looks, but don't think I'm the biggest fan of it. Maybe it's just the lighting, and maybe it's just the angle in this one, and but otherwise, this one I'm admittedly also not the biggest fan of. But I don't quite want to put it in Hang Up the Shield. I think, yeah, I think I'll be generous. I think I'll still put it in C. Just not really my cup of tea. But next up is going to be Earth X Captain America. So this one is an interesting one on pretty much Captain America. I believe this is the one where Captain America, and this is like a statue version of it, so it's not quite a comics version, but it's pretty much the similar design. But I believe this is one where like Captain America becomes disillusioned with his country, which does seem to happen a number of times with Captain America lore in different canon and stuff. So he gets this new outfit here. As for the outfit itself, it is kind of out there as well. Like Captain America, no helmet, no anything like that. Has a flag wrapped around almost like a toga, and then he still has the pants and the boots, very torn or very shredded, tattered up version of Captain America. It's supposed to look a bit more rough, and it does have the X, like, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's like scratched onto his forehead, and like a cross like scratched onto his forehead. Like the thing is, I almost want to put it in C, but like I said, I do have to kind of grade on a curve. But and it is very indicative of like the story, so you do have to keep that in mind. Honestly, I might put like an undecided section on some of these tier lists, but where's the fun in that? Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta put it in C. Not really the biggest fan of it. I get why it's there, but I want to try to be as objective as possible and just look at the attire within a bubble. But it doesn't really. It's weird. I know. I'm weird. I know. But next up is Capwolf. Well, I forget the exact lore behind this universe, but who cares? It's Captain America is a werewolf, and I do like the tattered clothing, and Captain America essentially becomes a furry, but he still has like the claws and stuff. Looks very tough, very menacing, and so Capwolf. I think I am going to put in. I think I'll at least put it in B. Pretty much like his regular attire, but he's a wolf now. Is Captain America. But next up is the Civil Warrior. So this version actually was introduced first in Marvel Contest of Champions, the mobile game, before it made its way into like the official comics. And so pretty much this Captain America was another Captain America who engaged in civil war with Iron Man. Pretty much like the Marvel Civil War. And I'll shrink it down a little bit so you can see like the whole suit. So he battled Iron Man, actually ended up killing Iron Man and felt guilty about it. So he took one of Iron Man's suits, made like a suit of armor out of it, and gave like the shield with the arc reactor and stuff. So he has that there. Now, I know I just got finished saying that suits of armor for Captain America is kind of weird, but I think this one works. I think the reason I like this one a bit more than this one or this one is because probably because I do play Contest of Champions, but it doesn't feel as like over exaggerated to the point of almost parody with these. This one feels a bit more subtle and dare I say cool as well. Well, it does have a lot of silver and the blue and the red, and but it does fit into like that suit of armor aspect, and the fact that the shield also has an arc reactor is pretty cool. Well, so this one and does I think look cool. Well, so this one I think I will at least put in B. Is the Civil Warrior. Still looks pretty cool. I do like it more than the other like armored versions of Captain America, which I guess makes it the best out of them. But next up is the Heroes Reborn Captain America. Pretty much similar to like his standard attire, except this time on his forehead instead of the A is the eagle. The kind of like eagle design. I believe it's supposed to be like the shield design, like shield the organization. But otherwise, it's kind of still your standard fare and everything. And quite a bit of blue, almost a bit heavy-handed and like light with it. Don't know if I quite like that as much, but it's still pretty cool and nice for the most part. Alright, so the Heroes Reborn, I think I am gonna put in B. I'm gonna put in B. Next up is going to be next up is going to be the 1872 Captain America, and I'll actually blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it. So this is like 1872, aka like the Old West version of Captain America, and he's supposed to be a sheriff. Almost a little too basic, but you do have to kind of take into account the context within the story. This is supposed to be 1872. It's not supposed to be modern. It's supposed to be very much old school throwback to the 1800s, the Old West, if you will. Well, so with that in mind, I do like the outfit, how it still has that blue, like the blue vest and pants, and the brown gloves, and then the white shirt. I think still looks pretty cool. So simple but effective. So, and as you mentioned, sometimes less is more. It does have like that sheriff's badge there. So 1872, I think I will put in B. Yeah, I think I will put that in B. Next up, though, is going to be Mutant X Captain America, and I believe this is when they were battling against the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong. As for this one, and it is definitely an interesting change up. Yellow has entered the chat when it comes to this one, and he's got like the yellow / like gold wings. Maybe it's supposed to be gold more so, but he's got like the gold wings, and then this gold chest piece to replace just the star. It's now a gold star. It's got a gold belt and the gold star there in the center of the shield. Well, Captain America must have attended Mrs. Puff's boating school while he was on the Avengers, but it must have been a very good student. But as for this attire, it still looks it looks okay for the most part. I still got a lot of the color scheme, although the red has been kind of repurposed into this. I do wish it was a little bit more red, but there's also the gloves and the boots, so never mind. But this one, I think this one I'll also still put in B. Is this one? So this one is. Oops, scroll down too far. So this one I think I will still put in B there. Then next up is. Let's see. The not the Age of X, the Revolutionary War Captain America. So this is supposed to be an ancestor of Captain America that fought in the Revolutionary War, and this is quite a look for Captain America. Kind of the color scheme that we come to know and love, but it's got the old school stars, like the old school American flag with the 13 colonies. He's got a big red cape. He's got all kinds of buckles and stuff because I guess that was the style at the time. The shield is pretty cool as well. It's got like the eagle there, or they managed to have both the pointed shield and the round shield. You can see the pointed shield in the logo there, but it still has the round shield. Good on you, Marvel. But then he's also got the hat with the A on there. Like, it looks cool but ridiculous at the same time. But it does, I guess, fit in the time period. So the Revolutionary War Captain America, I am going to put in. Not A, but at the very least B. I think, yeah, I'll put it in B. Then next up is going to be E. Now we get to Age of X, Captain America. Okay, this one. On one hand, I think this is also supposed to be like stealth. I think this actually is where they're supposed to be battling the X-Men. I think this might have been a false alarm, but this one I think is when they were battling the X-Men, and I forget exactly. I gotta re-catch up on my lore there, but I think it's supposed to be more covert, but it does look a little basic, with like the blue suit and then just like the black, mainly blue and black. It does have like the camo in the shoulders, which does redeem it a little bit, but it also has just the star there and then the star there. The shield it does look pretty nice, and I do like this blue effect it has, but then it's also mainly black and white. So this one, I think, yeah, don't quite know if I'm the biggest fan of it, at least me personally. So I think this one, and it's not necessarily bottom, but I think I am going to put it in C. Not really the biggest fan of it, admittedly. But then next up is Marvel Apes. Yes. All the Marvel characters were turned into monkeys at one point. They've done a lot of weird stuff when it comes to Marvel. Well, as for the attire itself, it's pretty much the standard Captain America attire that we all know and love, except now he's an ape. So I guess it does get points for that, and I guess they are able to pull it off. But I think this one I'll probably also put in. I think this one I'll put in B. It does do the job. It's Captain America, but he's an ape. But now we move into our like movie looks, starting with the 1990 movie. Oh, where to begin? Like, while I've never personally seen this movie, this movie is regarded as like one of the worst superhero movies of all time, and the suit does kind of reflect that. Granted, it was a different time, but yeah, he's all skinny and stuff, and they got like this weird effect going into the red and the white, and then he's got like the star and stuff of obviously, I'm not gonna comment on the dirt and stuff because it looks like Cap's been in battle here, but it looks like you can feel the rubber of the suit, like Batman 1989, eat your heart out. But this one, I'm sorry, like, hey, everything about this movie was low budget, and I guess the costume does reflect it. I'm sorry. You gotta hang up the shield on that one. And granted, I want to be fair. I don't want to put on like the strength of the movie because that's kind of unfair. But I'm going just off strength of the costume, and the costume is kind of whack. But next up is our suits from the Captain America: First Avenger movie. So now we're in the MCU with our Captain America appearances. And this one, this one kind of looks cheesy and dumb as well. But that was kind of the point. This is before Captain America saw actual combat. This is back when he was still being used to put on shows and stuff. At least at this point in the movie. So I can't be too harsh on it. But it does still look kind of, and like, it's pretty much it's pretty much just looks like the attire we'll see later on in Captain America, and it very much is like a Captain America suit. But I can't be too harsh on it. It is much better than this one, but this one I think, yeah, I'll put it in B. Yeah, I'll leave it in B. I'll be nice. I'll be nice to the suit. But then next up is his World War II suit, aka the suit he pretty much wears throughout the rest of the movie. And this thing looks really cool. It's got the red and kind of this brown and the blue and the boots and stuff up, and the helmet. It does look pretty cool for the most part. Or don't quite know if it's our first super soldier tier, but it is still really nice. I'm surprised we haven't a super soldier tier suit yet, but it does still look pretty cool for the most part. So we are going to put it in A on that merit. Next up is the Avengers, and this suit does look pretty cool as well. Pretty much like a more armored up version of this one, but kind of keeping that basic idea. And I do like the blue and the red and the white. I do like how it has the stripes on the shoulders and then onto the biceps and everything. And it does still look pretty cool. Don't quite know if I want to put it. Don't quite know if this one is our first super soldier tier, but it is still pretty nice. So this one I am going to put in A. Next up is Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and this one is supposed to be definitely an homage to the Super Soldier. Excuse me, the Super Soldier suit. If you remember this one, so that one's supposed to be an homage to that one, and it does fit in the movie. I think because of that one, and I believe this is like the Hot Toys version of the suit, where it's like the Hot Toys like figurine statue type suit. Who I believe this is that version of it. But it does still show off the suit. So I actually have a couple of these I included on here. But this one, it does fit that criteria. It's kind of basic, but it is armored up and everything, and it does reflect on that one. So I can't be too harsh on it, but yeah, I think I'll put that one in B. Is the Winter Soldier suit. Then next up is Avengers: Age of Ultron. This is definitely the Hot Toys version. Something about this suit I have always liked. It's got like the red and like the star, but then these red effects going through it. And then the blue. It's mostly blue, but it's still got the red and white ever present. And it's got that like armored up soldier look to it as well. Oh, so you know what? This might be controversial, but I think this one might be our first super soldier tier. It does look really good. It pretty much takes like this one and then really expands upon it as well, and it still looks really nice. But then next up is Captain America: Civil War. Pretty much like this one, except a bit more subdued. It's more into like maroon territory as opposed to the bright red, so don't quite like it as much, but it is still pretty cool for the most part. So this one, I think. I think this one I'll put in B. It does look really nice though. But next up is Avengers: Infinity War, or the Vibranium suit, along with the Vibranium gauntlets. This one was cool. Pretty much similar to like this one, except it also has the Vibranium gauntlets as well, which is a nice touch. And the Vibranium shields in the movie were really solid. No helmet this time around. Cap is walking around barefaced like he's John Stewart. But Infinity War, or I think, want to put in A or B. You know what? I might put it in A. Or actually, nah, nah. I'll leave it in B because it is pretty much like the Civil War suit, except with the vibranium gauntlets. But I think I still gotta put it in B. I still have to be fair. Alright, then next up is his Avengers Endgame suit. So, we're pretty much kind of following that same kind of pattern we've seen, except also going back into the scale designs like we saw in the comics. And I believe this is like a stand-up version, like one of those cardboard stand-up versions of Captain America. Yeah, you can see by the logo there, but it does still show off the suit. It still does have the red and stuff, and it has the helmet, and of course, it's got that head, as this movie pointed out, America's ass. So, Avengers Endgame, I think this one, and the scales homage is a nice touch. And oh, I forgot, on the shoulders, it usually does have, like, the A logo, like the Avengers logo. It does have that here. I don't think it had it on here, but it does have that there. Or it might just be America logo. But this one, I think I'll also... I think this one I'll also put in B as well. It still looks pretty cool. And then last, but certainly not least, is the Avengers video game, the one from 2020. Now, I remember when, like, more stuff got revealed about this game, how a lot of people were concerned about Captain America's design and saying it did look kind of weird. I think it looked a little too bulky, especially in, like, the chest and, like, the arms. But since obviously I played the game and since I've looked at it more and more, I can kind of see it, but I do also think but I don't think it's that bad. It does have like that armored, like the armored padding design, and of course these designs kind of based off like their MCU counterparts, which they would also have the MCU suits in the Avengers video game lifespan. I do still like the blue, and I do still like the red and the white and stuff. Don't think I quite like it as much as the other ones, but thankfully, like this, like padding and stuff, and I think they did tone it down just a little bit due to what people are saying about it. But otherwise, I think it still does look relatively nice for the most part. So I am going to put it in B. So that is the tier list. So to recap, in Super Soldier 2 we had Age of Ultron. In A tier we had Golden Age, the No Scales, Marvel Now, Ultimate, Falcon, Captain America, the First Avenger, World War II Edition, and then Avengers. In B tier we had the original, Winter Soldier, Secret Empire, U.S. Agent, Super Soldier, World War II, 2099, Peggy Carter, Cap Wolf, Civil Warrior, Heroes Reborn, 1872, Mutant X, Revolutionary War, Marvel Apes, Captain America, the First Avenger, Original Suit, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and the Avengers video game. In C2 we had Exoskeleton, Nigelverse, Earth X, and Age of X, and then in Hang Up the Shield we had the 1990 movie. So quite a few Captain America looks throughout the years across media and comics and stuff. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this list. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the list and my rankings, and what's your favorite Captain America suit, whether it be comics, movies, video games, stuff like that. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.